A la di da di da, di da di da di la di da di da, di la hi, di da di dum dum, la di da di dum, la di da di dum dum dum. This is my song, my very own song. I can sing it short or I can sing it long.
This is my song, my very own song. If you do not have that song in your head after that, you are a better person than me. I researched this months ago to do a video on it and I heard that song. Been in my head ever since. You see the little thing on top of the house? I'll zoom in a sec. That is said to be the home of today's story. 1 second. You see it? There. Yeah. That is Tom Thumb's home. Welcome to the channel. Weird folk, old English folk story today, but it's near my home, so I don't know how these tales start. I have no information about why that's his home or why it's there on top of that house or why his grave's over there, which we are going to see in a second. All I know is it's an old English folk story. I'll take a picture of that, I've already done it. That's why I'm walking away if you're disappointed. Can you see it? One sec. But we will go through the story and I'll tell you the fairy tale best I can. I'm not too interested in it. And also you'll get another intro at the next scene because I messed up, and I'll be here to do the outro because I've already done it. Can't say I'm not professional, but this is my song, my very own song. Get it in your head. I've lost my car keys. Please subscribe. I hope you enjoy the video. It's snowing as well. Hi everyone, an unusual one today in the shadows of Tattershall Castle. Very beautiful. I'll probably do a video in there one day because there's something quite interesting about that castle. So I'm going to do a folk tale. Now we are walking to a church, and I'll tell you why we're walking to that church in a second. This is the folk story of little Tom Thumb. Now, a member of King Arthur's council, called Tom, wanted nothing more than a son. And so King Arthur sent Merlin. Now, if you're like me, I'll walk around the church as I tell the story, and you think Merlin are the sticker books. You are wrong. Now, Merlin was a wizard, and after meeting Tom the ploughman and his wife, he found out they wanted nothing more than to have a son, but they could not have one. And within 3 months, the wizard had granted the wish for Thomas and his wife and gave them a son. Now, Thomas's wife said she would want a son to be no more than Thomas's thumb. And so, Thomas, the child, was born, and he was the size of Thomas the ploughman's thumb. The fairies came to visit. What am I talking about? The fairies came to visit, and they said, "This boy shall be named Little Tom Thumb." really like quiet part of Lincolnshire. I always say Lincolnshire's quiet, don't I? But the castle, very beautiful. But this is a huge church for here, well, I think anyway. Now, being the size of a thumb brought its own problems, as you can well imagine. There are stories of him when his mum was stirring up some batter. Tom fell into the batter, and when he was kicking because he couldn't scream because his mouth was full of batter, his mother threw the batter away because she thought it was bewitched. And a tinker, maybe he did football cards, a tinker picked up Tom and the batter, and he again chucked the batter away as it was kicking, and it was Tom, but he remained safe. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Now, on one of Tom's many adventures, he was picked up by a crow, and the crow carried Tom for miles and miles and dropped him into the sea, and one of King Arthur's fishermen picked up little Tom Thumb, and while one of his chefs was chopping him the fish, Tom jumped out and was taken to the king, and the king fell in love with little Tom Thumb. There's many more adventures of Tom Thumb. One of the stories are Tom telling King Arthur about how poor they were, and King Arthur let Tom take as many coins as he could carry back to the family. Of course, Tom could only carry the one. But Thomas made his way back to the palace, and King Arthur drew up some armour for little Tom Thumb, and when King Arthur rode out on horseback, Tom Thumb would ride out on mouse. I don't know. But this made the Queen very jealous, and the Queen wanted little Tom Thumb beheaded. Now, this scared Tom, so Tom ran away, but the Queen caught him and put him in a mousetrap. But a cat playing with the mousetrap set Tom free. Tom ran away. Tom then came face to face with a spider, and although he drew his sword and put up a gallant fight, he was no match for the spider's poisonous breath. This made King Arthur declare mourning, a period of mourning, and he was buried in this church. Here we go. We got there eventually. And in this church, little Tom Thumb lays with an epitaph, which I will read when we get inside. So the epitaph that I expected to see, which wasn't there, his grave is there, as you're about to see. His epitaph read, "Here lies Tom Thumb, King Arthur's knight, who died by a spider's cruel bite. He was well known in Arthur's court, where he afforded gallant sport. He rode a tilt and tournament, and on mouse a hunting went. Alive he filled the court with mirth, his death to sorrow soon gave birth. Wipe your eyes, and shake your head, and cry, alas, Tom Thumb is dead." Obviously, the Tom Thumb legend has grown and grown. Well, it did in the 20th century. He was in a movie in the 50s where the song I was singing at the start came from. He was also in the very first episode of The Beano. And if you want to impress 8-year-old me, being in The Beano does it. I don't know how all these legends and things grow, so I don't know why his house is said to have been there, or why he has a grave. But he does. I thought it'd just be a quick story of a folk tale which is near my home. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe and like. I don't come to Tattershall very often, so I deserve credit just for that. Thank you very much.